Hey everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd, and another day, another bad Grimes AI take. Yes, today we are talking about the recent comments of legendary Canadian music producer, alternative pop songwriter Grimes, who was recently at the Fortune Brainstorm Tech Conference, apparently talking on a roundtable, getting pretty heavy into the topic of AI, a technology that not only was she very early in the game when it comes to normalizing, like she was one of the first people out there in the music world kind of excitedly pushing people to try to use like early AI models to copy her voice and then come out with their own music. And recently she's had a lot of broad public comments on AI as well, especially in light of the Pope's recent comments on it. Of course, Claire is no stranger to giving takes on the ways in which AI is impacting the music industry too. And she came through with one here that, being that she is a musician herself, you wouldn't necessarily think she would endorse.
What's your take on this flood of AI-generated creativity? And perhaps you disagree with that description entirely.
No, I think it's a flood, and it's slightly concerning. And I think there needs to be some, obviously it's like a huge percentage of what is getting uploaded every week to Spotify now, so we need to protect artists. But we're using the term boomer AI, which is probably rude, to just sort of refer to the, like the AI covers and stuff. I feel like actually the more slop there is, the more valuable, more experimental or more unique art is. And I find myself getting really disenfranchised with the system at this point, which is good. I feel like it goes in cycles. And yeah, I think it's good. I think it's going to instigate more, I think there's a lot more kind of local acts coming up again and stuff. And yeah, I think the worse we make the corporate music system, the better it is for art. Right before this, we were in a bit of a human slop era where it's so easy to upload to Spotify that there was almost just too much music. I feel like especially 2020 to 2023 or 24, it was getting really hard for artists.
Yep.
And I don't know, I feel like the AI stuff has been almost reminding people to actually, I want to care about artists again.
To be charitable to Claire here, I will say I do think there are some headlines in light of these quotes that are maybe reducing her point down a little bit. But she literally is saying here that the increase in the amount of AI music out there in the world, essentially the AI enshittification of the music pool that we all find new tunes in on a regular basis, is ultimately a good thing because it makes more experimental or actual art more valuable, which is a theory that I think sounds really good and sounds really nice in concept, not only because one, this outcome requires all of us to basically do pretty much nothing and just allow the AI music scourge to take over the internet because we're just kind of sitting down here presuming that that's going to be the better option for all in the long run anyway. But also going this route presumes there's going to be some kind of wide public fever break that happens when all of us suddenly wake up at the same time and say, wow, all of this AI art and AI music is terrible. I'm finally dying to hear some real art. The problem with this perspective is that it kind of presumes that there is a rock bottom to begin with, a standard that people will broadly reject, when personally, I think it's very much possible for the general public to be repeatedly and slowly exposed to more and more and more garbage and accept a new low standard as a result. I mean, we're already seeing that to a degree across the world when it comes to standard of living, our standard of politics. Even if in theory there actually is a rock bottom here in terms of the amount of AI music and what AI music people generally will tolerate, do we actually really want to hit that rock bottom? Would it not be more beneficial for us to avoid it entirely? And save ourselves the mental anguish and save artists the humiliation of having to go through years and years and years of trending AI songs in the Spotify top 50, with numerous songs going viral and besting many more worthwhile artists. If the hope is that we're going to stop the plane from spiraling in this nosedive by pulling up at the last second, then why not just pull the plane up earlier by making everybody more widely aware of how terrible all of this is? The real issue, though, is the phenomenon Grimes is describing here is not anywhere close to the reality of your average musician, especially experimental or underground underground. Because if what she was saying was true, wouldn't we be seeing this kind of like gradual increase in genuine, real interest for alternative and far left field artists? Wouldn't there be a boon in the experimental weirdo music economy? And if that truly was happening, why is someone like Grimes, somebody who is more poised than many to take advantage of such an increase in interest among the music listening audience, not actually partaking in that trend by coming out with some weird experimental music? No, what she's doing here is actually following the real trend, and that's the bullshit AI psyop propaganda trend, where she's coming onto a conference stage to further normalize and soft pedal AI to the masses. Because when you look at AI music discussions broadly across the internet, they're mostly very negative and very anti-AI. Musicians don't want to see their jobs replaced by Suno and Udio, even though there are a fair amount of mindless, casual, passive music fans out there who unknowingly consume, as Grimes says, kind of like, boomer covers of songs that are fed into the Spotify algorithm on a pretty regular basis. Yeah, this stuff is out there. It exists. It gets playlisted. But many music fans and listeners don't actively seek this trash out. It's sort of fed to them unknowingly. And that's why many AI platforms and AI music purveyors, when they are pushing the stuff out there, they try to do it on the low as much as possible, because once people actually know what they're consuming, they tend to be pretty upset about it. And honestly, I think we as music fans and commentators should embrace that emotion, continue to remind people of what AI music is, rather than letting it become further normalized and flood every corner of the internet in hopes that people start changing their minds miraculously and in reaction start thirsting for experimental music. And all of these local bands that Grimes says are rising to prominence now, list them. Because again, the truth of the matter is that for the average casual music listener, there's only a limited amount of pipelines and gatekeepers that they're being fed music to and through on the internet, on music streaming platforms these days. And more and more and more, some of those most popular pipelines are being flooded with AI slop, with many more alternative, underground, and experimental artists being left to the wayside as a result. And these sorts of trends have been happening, have been increasing since before the dawn of this AI scourge, through major labels and platforms like Spotify overlooking ambient artists, more experimental artists, in favor of more mainstream cash cows that they know tend to stream well. And now in 2026, these trends are worsening. It's just happening at the hands of AI. Unfortunately, I have to come on here and talk about how BS these talking points are, because even though it's been years since Grimes has made a relevant album and has placed her foot inside her mouth over and over and over and over, there are a lot of people and platforms that will continue to take everything Claire says seriously here because of the place and space she holds in the music world. Because yeah, she is an accomplished and seasoned and talented musician who's capable of much more than going on some BS tech bro conference stage and spouting crap about how, AI music taking over everything and ruining things and becoming basically inescapable. That's a good thing, actually, which is exactly what these tech music assholes want to hear. Yeah, let us replace musicians. Let us basically put this stuff in your face at every waking moment of the day, and somehow that's a benefit to you. You're welcome. Music is saved, I guess. But yeah, there you go. Those are my thoughts on that. What are yours? Let me know. Over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Hit that up, or a link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, music, AI, forever.